Okay, Half-Life Alyx was really fun, but I mean, that was a long wait. How can you let your fans wait so long for a new episode? Oh wait.
Is it really that time again?
Hello everyone, welcome back to ParsecGames, and I know it's been a very long time since the last video. I still get emails every single day of people asking me to do another tutorial. So here I am. I'm finally gonna do another one, and I'm really glad, by the way, that there's so many people still interested, because I looked at my Social Blade numbers, and apparently when I did the last tutorial, which was I think in May 2019, so 10 months ago, or 9, or 11. Yeah, 11. Yeah. I was at around 350 subscribers, and now I'm at almost 800, I think. So thank you very much, all the people that came along now in the time. I don't know why you subscribe to a channel that doesn't upload anymore, but here I am. Your faith has been worth it. And now we're gonna look back into the Five Nights at Freddy's tutorial. So here we have the project which we've been working on, and I'm just gonna look how far we got, because I really don't remember anything. Okay. Okay, so the lights work, you can look around the office. You have the fan working. You can, okay, you can look around the cameras even. Very nice. And they all work, okay, good. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna change, which I noticed right away, is the music keeps playing even when you're in the game right now. Which is strange. Shouldn't happen. So we're gonna look inside, and I think the backdrop has the music, yeah. So we're gonna add in when I receive show newspaper. It's gonna set the volume to 0. Okay, so that should mute it. And what's very important, keep this one, the set volume to 100, because if not, as soon as this has happened once, then even if you restart the game, the music's gonna be muted. So you need this set volume to 100 to unmute it at the beginning. Okay. Now this is not quite like in the game, because it actually stops the music when it shows the current night like this. So we're just gonna change this to show current night. And now, perfect. Very nice. Okay. And these sounds still work. Excellent. Okay, great. So now what we're gonna do is add some ambient sound, because right now it's really quiet, the game. So we're gonna add in a new sprite. We're gonna call it Audio Engine, and we'll import some sounds. Great. Okay, great. Okay, great. Thought they might fix that. I guess they don't want wave sounds. Okay. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna convert all of these into MP3s, and I'll update the download link so you'll also have MP3s from now on. Because this seems to break the friggin' project when you have more than 2 sounds, which is not very impressive for MIT. I'm not, like, no front, I'm not trying to shade them, but that's kind of not great. So I'm just gonna convert all of these. That's gonna be fun. Okay, so now I've gone and converted every single audio by hand, and I'll just upload them for you, and you can download them already converted. No need to thank me. I'll put the link in the description for you to download them. And now we're back here. I've already re-imported the ambient sounds, the office ambience, from the office ambience folder, and now it seems to work. I could save the project, which is great. So MP3 is apparently the way to go. So we'll just look at this again. We won't use the circus one, and we also won't use the fan and light one, on this one at least, on this sprite, because this one, this sound, if I remember correctly, actually changes a bit depending on if you have the cameras up or not. Because if you have the camera up, that gets a little bit quieter, and because we want to have the full attention to detail and make the most realistic Five Nights at Freddy's remake, we're gonna do that as well. So we won't be using this one. Instead, we'll be moving this sound over to one of the camera sprites. Let's put it into this one, into the map, complete map sprite, and we'll remove it from the audio engine sprite. So now we have it over here, and this thing is gonna manage its own volume for us. So we'll just add in when the game starts a forever loop for that case, and then we'll just start playing this sound on repeat, which is kind of annoying, so I'm gonna stop the sound right now because it's really annoying. So we'll add in the volume over here. So if the camera's up, it's gonna be at 100%, and no, if the camera's down, so if the camera up variable is at 0, it's gonna be at 100%, and if the camera's up, it's gonna be at around 65%. So now if we start it, we should get the typical office ambience in just a moment. Yep. And now if we move up the camera, it gets a bit quieter, which is just like in the real game, which is very nice. And now over here in the audio engine, we'll just remove the circus as well. And now we have these 3 ambient sounds, and they'll just repeat randomly throughout the game. So we'll just add in start when I receive start game, forever, play sound until done, and because we have 3 sounds, we'll add in a pick random from 1 to 3, and that means that it will always play a different one. So this is kind of random, and we'll see how that works. Also, just to be sure, we'll add in a set volume to 100 in case we do something to the volume later. And now, I don't know if you can hear it, but right now it's playing 2 sounds. One is the fan sound, and one is that ambient sound. And now the soundscape already sounds a lot like in the real game, which is very nice. Okay. Now, the next thing we're gonna add is, in case you didn't notice it, we don't have a UI down here. So in the real game, you have kind of a heads-up display, a HUD, which shows you how much energy you're using and your battery percentage, which we don't have right now, but that's kind of important for the game. So that's what we're gonna add today. So now we'll make a new sprite, and we're gonna look for the right textures. Which would probably be in the GUI. Yeah. So now we'll add the power left and usage things, heads up display messages. We'll import these 3 here. And now for some reason all the textures have instead of transparency, they have this weird gray outline, so we're gonna have to remove that by hand. Okay, so in the original game, the power left is at the top and the usage is at the bottom, so we'll just do it like that. So we're just gonna rename these sprites just to make it easier for ourselves. Power left, %, and usage. And now we're gonna first switch to the power left costume. We're just gonna drag it over here just to get a feel of the position. And now these automatically change. I'm just gonna put in round numbers because I hate when they're not nice. Now it's a nicer number. And we're gonna have it go over here. Maybe, yeah, no, that's all right. Maybe a bit more to the top. Put in minus 90 actually, because it shouldn't be too far to the bottom, because we still need to add in the usage as well. And we're just gonna make it create a clone of itself. And now we're gonna copy that, switch to the percentage, and we're gonna actually execute this one. So we already have this here, and now, as you can see, we can have both at the same time. So we're gonna have this one at around, I'd say minus 50 maybe. Maybe a bit more to the right, minus 20. And now we have enough space to put in the 3 digits in here. So we can display up to 100%. And we'll once again add a clone myself over here. Now let's just execute this thing. And now we have both of these in here. And now we only need to add the usage. And that's going to be at minus 160 again on the X. And I'd say around minus 120 maybe on the Y. And now as you can see, because these are not centered by the left, by the center of themselves, it's actually more to the right. So now we need to find out how far to the left we got to push it so that it aligns with the power left. So I'd say minus 200 seems right. No. Minus 195. No. Minus 192. No. Minus 193. Okay, now we have it. And now we'll add a clone and actually we don't have to. We don't need that. Because that's just going to be this is going to be the sprite and these two are the clones. And now if we start the game, they're gone. And if we start it, as soon as we're in the office, as you can see, they're not visible because I'm stupid and I forgot to add in a show up here. So let's just do it by hand. And now we have these here. Very nice. Okay. So now what we're going to add is the actual usage sprites. We're just going to rename this to HUD. I like to have every sprite with an actual name. Except for these two. I don't know why. I'm not going to change them now. That's going to stay that way. And now we're going to add in a new sprite and import these 5 usage indicators, and that tells you how much you're using right now. Let's put them in proper order. Very nice British English. And I just renamed them just for myself because that makes it easier. And once again we need to remove the non-transparent part here, which in this case is black instead of gray. I don't know why. And now we're gonna have these display again. Also, which is probably important, is we're gonna add in when I start as clone forever, go to front, because it might happen to us later that there's gonna be some object in front of it, which we don't want. So now that we've added this, they will always show, and we can guarantee that we're always seeing them. And now let's rename this sprite again to usage. Great, usage. And we'll just have to figure out where we put it. Around here, maybe make it a bit smaller, around 80%. And then let's set it to 5, so we have like a feeling of, maybe 65. And let's move it over here, which is at minus 100 and minus 125. Nope. So let's just move it by hand to around the place we want to have it at. Yep, okay. And now let's just keep this. That's the way it's gonna look. And now when we start the game, it's gonna go to this position and take this size, and then forever wait 0.5 seconds, because we don't want it to check. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna have it check the current usage and then change its sprite depending on that. But if we don't add in this wait thing, or maybe 0.5 is a bit much, but maybe 0.1, if we don't add this in, it's gonna add a lot of lag to the game. Not a lot, but if we do this with a lot of sprites, that's gonna add a lot of lag, because it's gonna be constantly checking if the usage variable has changed, which is not a good idea. So we are just gonna have it check every couple of every 0.1 seconds, and that way we're gonna keep in a lot of the good performance that we've tried to have right now. And so now we need to actually calculate the current usage, and you probably know that one lamp uses one of these bars, and one door as well also uses these bars, and the camera. So now what we're gonna do is make a new list called usage, and now we're just gonna at the very beginning, very beginning when the flag is clicked, we're gonna empty this list, delete all of usage, so it's empty the way it is right now. And then we're gonna add, so as you can see, we can have up to 5 bars, so we're gonna add 0 5 times and make sure that you actually have usage selected here. Okay, and now I think it always has at least 1 bar, so actually this has to be a 1. And now this one is gonna switch to costume, and then this is gonna be kind of a trick, but it's gonna be the sum of all these list items here. So we're gonna have to add in item 1, item 2, item 3, item 4, item 5 of usage in here into the sum. Item 1, item 2, item 3, item 4, item 5. And now right now the sum is 1, because if you add these together, obviously 1 is what comes out. So now it's gonna switch to 1. But now if, for example, we edit this to be on as well, it's gonna switch to the second bar. And if we remove this again, it's gonna switch to the first. So right now, what we're gonna do is just go into every sprite that uses power in the game, which is the buttons, the lights and the doors and the camera, and we're just gonna have them assigned to one of these slots in the list. And then depending on if they're on or off, they're gonna set it to 0 or 1. Okay, and I almost forgot, make sure to add in a show and hide when you start the game and when the flag is pressed. And now we're gonna go into the office sprite and add in the usage for the lights, so that it changes depending on if your light is on or off. So let's go into the office. And now we need to find the part that controls that, which is this one. So just add in replace item 2. We're going to use the second slot to show us the whether the lights are on or off, and set it to 0. So in that case, when there's no lights on, it switches to the costume which has no lights on, and sets the second list item to 0. And if not, it's gonna switch it to 1. And it's important that you put this up here, because if you put it in here, well, as long as you don't add this one in again, it's not gonna change anything. But we have it flickering. So we're gonna put it outside of this randomizer, so that it doesn't the usage doesn't flicker. I mean, it wouldn't happen anyways if we just put it in 1, but still, just to be sure. It probably doesn't make any sense what I'm saying right now, but just do it the same way I did and it's gonna work. Don't worry. Okay, so we're just gonna try it out now. So the usage right now is at 1, and if we turn on one of the lights, it's gonna go up to 2. And as you can see, you can only have 1 light on at a time, just like in the real game. And if we turn it off again, the usage goes back to 1 bar, which is great. Okay, so now the next thing that can use power are the doors. So we're just going to go into the right door and left door sprites. And this is going to be really simple, because we already have these very nicely titled left door.close and left door.open. So we're just going to have it so the left door controls the 3rd list item and the right door controls the 4th. And we're just going to have in, once again, replace item 3, this time 3 of usage, with 1. So when the door is closed, that switches to 1. And when the door is open, that switches to 0. And we're just going to do the same thing over here on the right door, except we're going to obviously have to edit item 4 instead of item 3. Replace item 4 of usage with 1 and replace item 4 of usage with 0. So when the door opens, it changes to 0, and when it close it, it changes to 1. And then we're also going to do basically the same thing with the camera sprite, which is this one. But we're going to have it controlled a bit more, a bit more, we're just going to have a bit more control over it by, instead of having it linked to the animation, have it linked to this variable. So we can just actually replace item usage, item 5 of usage, the 5th one, with camera up, and we can just put it inside of the forever loop actually, because if the camera is up, that's going to be 1, so the list item also turns to 1, and if the camera is down, it's going to be 0. So the list item also changes to 0. So now we're just going to try that out, and it should work pretty well actually. So let's try it out. Let's just hide the usage list, and now let's turn on the light. So it's at 2 now. Close the door, and as you can see, the door sprite has a small problem right now. So we're gonna have to fix that. So we're gonna add in, go to front layer, and go backward, and we're just gonna have to type in a certain number, which is 10 apparently, and we're gonna do the same thing for the right door, because that's gonna have the same problem if we don't add that. And now let's close this one as well. So that looks pretty good already, and as you can see, the usage right now is at 4 bars. And now if we open the camera as well, it's gonna be at the full amount. So that works pretty well. Yeah. Okay. So that's the power usage system. Now the last thing we're gonna add today is actually the power percentage over here, because that's gonna be a bit of work. So let's make a new sprite and call it power percent. And now we're gonna have to add in all the numbers from 0 to 9, like this. Import them in, and now once again we're gonna have to go into each and every one of them and remove the gray parts, or black parts in this case. Okay, so now we have these numbers here. And what we're going to do is, when the flag is clicked, we're going to have them hide. That's what we always do. And when the game starts, where is it? When I receive start game, it's going to show up pretty much. And now to put it in the right position, we're going to have the HUD show up again. And now let's set the size of the power percent to 80. Great. Because that needs to actually fit in there. Let's have that do it once again, because I was stupid and moved the newspaper by accident. Okay, so now actually let's have it a bit smaller still. 75% maybe. Okay. And now what we're going to do is, when the game starts, it's going to create 3 clones of itself. And actually it's going to the costumes and just change the numbers, the costume names, because that's going to be important later. Eight, 9. And have it go to costume 0 in the beginning, and then repeat 3 times. It creates a clone of itself, and then switches to the next costume. The reason we're going to do this is we want each of the clones to know which part of the power variable it's going to have to use to get its digit number. So we're going to add in when I start as a clone. And we're gonna add in a new variable called myDigit. And it sets, first of all, sets the myDigit variable only for this clone to the current costume number. So that way if we execute this now, and let's add in a show as well, and say myDigit, just for debugging, and have it also change x by 10 every time here. If we do this now, we now have 4 numbers because we need to hide the original one. And now you can see, first of all, we need to add in more space actually. And second of all, you can see that the third one says 3, the second one says 2, and the first one says 1. And we're going to use this myDigit here so that it knows which part of the power variable, which we're going to do, which we're going to make power, it has to access. Okay, so in case you, okay, so basically what we're going to do is, first of all, set power to 100 when the game starts. And now, we're going to have the clones do just that. I think I just removed the set myDigit to costume number, which was stupid. So set myDigit to costume number. Okay. And now, obviously, if the power goes below 100, there's only going to be 2 digits left because then it's 99. So the 1 at the beginning disappears. So what we're going to add in is an if-then clause. And if myDigit is 1, meaning this clone the clones are going to check which clone they are. And this way we can check, okay, this is in case it's the first clone. It's going to wait until the power goes below 99. And then it's just going to hide, because then we don't need that anymore. We don't need that digit anymore. So we're just going to try that out. Let's delete all the clones. And let's start this over here. Also, don't forget to add in a hide up here. Okay. And I forgot to add in the position, which was stupid. So let's set that to about -50 maybe. Do it again. Okay, let's, this is kind of, I'm really sorry, this has to be really confusing for you guys. But let's add in a -100 in here. And just keep retrying if we get the right X position. No, that's a bit too far to the left. -75 maybe. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so -75 and -90. Let's put it at -90. Okay, -90. Okay, and now the power is at 100. So the first digit is still showing. But now if we set it to, for example, actually we need to put this at less than 100, not less than 99. If we set the power to 99 or any other number with only 2 digits, the first one's going to disappear. Very nice. And we're going to actually have to make the first one just switch to costume 1. Because whenever there's 3 digits, the first one is always going to be 1 because the power obviously can't go above 100%. So the first digit just has to switch to costume 1. Very good at speaking I am. And then let's add in, if the digit is the second one, repeat until the power is below 10, because then as soon as it's under 10, it's 9, and that means there's only 1 digit left. So that's also going to make it hide. And until that happens, it's just going to switch to the what's it called? To that letter, I guess, of the power number, and it's gonna have to be the second. If there's 3 digits, it has to be the second, and if there's only 2 digits, so the power is 99 or below, it's gonna be the first. So we need to add in if power is less than 100. It's gonna switch to the first letter, and if not, it's gonna be the second one. Does this make sense to you? It should. It's logical. I'm not really good at explaining anything, but just do it the way I'm doing it, and it's gonna work. Okay, so now let's add in the case that it's the 3rd digit, and in that case we only need a normal if clause, not an if else clause. Then it should switch to the custom depending on the power. So we're gonna have to have 3 of these now. So if the power is below 10, that means it's just gonna switch to power, because then it's only 1 digit. If the power is below 100, it's gonna switch to the second letter of the power variable. And if it's exactly 100, it's gonna switch to a 0, because then the 3rd digit is a 0. So let's add that in here, and we're gonna have to add a forever around this part here. Okay, now let's try that out. Create all the clones, and so now the power is at 100 and it displays 100. If we switch it to 99, that works as well. Let's try out 55, 54, just as a test. Now if we set it to 10, that still works. If we set it to 9, this one disappears. 5, 1, and 0, and those all work. So now the power display works. I'd say that's all for today. I'm really, I promise you, the next episode is not going to take this long. I didn't work 10 months on this one. I was just doing other stuff in that time. I wasn't working on YouTube. But this time, I'm going to stay on, and I'm going to keep working. Because I see more and more people asking me to do more episodes of these tutorials. And I understand why. Because if you started following this tutorial, what was it, like 2 years ago when I first started it, and you're still waiting for me to finish your own project, I'm really sorry. I'm gonna hurry up from now on, because that's not nice having you wait for so long. So I'm gonna keep working now, and make these videos more frequently. Until next time, I hope it's not too long. See ya.